Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we are going to be diving into every single Union Arena simulator, a little tutorial behind them, how to install them, and I also reached out to the creators of each simulator just to get some words from them, thank them myself for all their hard work in making playing online possible. So just wanted to mention that now. If you guys did want to skip ahead to a certain simulator, I do have timestamps down below, so you don't have to watch each one, or you can skip ahead if you ever come back to this, etc. We're going to be starting it out with EXBurst here. If you don't know, EXBurst is one of the best websites to build Union Arena decks on. The best part about EXBurst in going into these simulators is you can actually export all of your decks into any of the simulators that we're going to be talking about today. So highly recommend building your decks on EXBurst so that you can just export them there. Even if you're not planning on playing online much, it's a great way to keep track of your IRL decks, look at other sets, explore sets, change up your deck virtually without having to change it, in real life, constantly unsleeving, whatever. And yeah, just a great tool to have if you're playing Union Arena in general. So massive shout out to the creators of EXBurst. By the way, it is EXBurst, not XBurst. I'd go back and forth on the two until I finally confirmed it with the creators. So confirming it now, it is EXBurst, just so everybody knows. But yeah, shout out to the creator of EXBurst tracking, because yeah, he has basically created the foundation for all of the simulators for the most part. If you look at all the sims, you'll see EXBurst on most of the cards, if not all of them. So because of him, we have easy access to the cards. There's a way to look at Japanese translated cards as well. So yeah, all around just an amazing tool. So thank you so much for that. So we'll be starting it out with this. Definitely recommend building your decks on here and then just kind of like going into the sims from there for sure. And yeah, once again, shout out to the creators of all the simulators, EXBurst, and everybody who helps out behind the scenes. Seriously, without having this like online community, it wouldn't be as motivating to go play IRL, be able to test decks and explore with sets, especially future ones, without having to invest the money up front. So really, really nice tools to have and just an amazing thing to have, especially for free, which I did just want to mention going into this video. There is going to be Patreon links if you guys are in a situation where you are able to support these simulators. Everything is 100% free, so this is not required, but if you are able to, and on top of that, some of them, if not most of them, do offer perks for supporting as well. So just keep that in mind going forward into this video for sure. So thank you everybody who helps out for this, and very excited to dive into this. Hopefully get more people into playing these. Starting it out with EXBurst here, created by Tracken. This is an amazing tool that I've been using since the day I started playing Union Arena. Again, not only is it a great tool for building decks, looking over card sets, maybe like switching up the decks that you have currently IRL and like not having to unsleeve cards but seeing how the builds could look. This is also an amazing tool to have for actually exporting the decks into any of the simulators that you're going to play. That's definitely one of my favorite reasons for it, since I play on all of the simulators that we're going to discuss. I just keep track of all of my decks on exburst.dev, and then I can just export them into each simulator, so I don't have to actually build them within each sim. Really, really nice tool to have, and on top of that, they have this amazing section here where you can actually see content creators' posts, so you can actually see different YouTube videos. You can also look at popular deck builds, which is really cool. If you go to the community tab up here and go to public decks, you can actually see people's public decks here, as well as sort them by most viewed, look at a certain series. It's really, really cool. On top of that, you have your own profile here where you can keep track of your own decks, keep them private, keep them public, mess around with different builds. It's really nice. And one of my favorite things is the card list here. So even if you do want to just look through sets, you can actually dive into here and start looking at the cards, if they have them, obviously. And another thing that's really, really nice is there's actually a Japanese translated version of EXBurst as well. So if you want to look ahead at future sets, if you want to look at sets that we don't have in North America yet, it's the exact same build here, exact same website. Just go to card list and you can actually see all of the different titles fully translated into English, which is really, really cool when you click on the cards right here. So yeah, great tool to have. Highly recommend checking it out. I don't know why it's just showing alternate arts right now. There we go. And yeah, you can see the full set. It's really cool. Different ways to filter as well, which is one of my favorite things. We'll dive back into the North America version. But yeah, over here on the main site, you can also see that they have a Gundam section that they support, as well as Pokemon Pocket TCG, with other projects in the works too. So other card games can always be added to this, which is awesome. Another thing I wanted to mention is there is going to be a huge update to EXBurst coming soon. I believe here in a few weeks, later this month, that I'm actually going to be making a dedicated video to. It's going to be a whole version 3. I've already gotten some nice sneak peeks into it, and it's going to be a massive change to the website. All around, it's still going to have the same functionalities, obviously, that the things we love, but it's going to be in a cleaner format with more tools and different options as well. So really, really, really excited for that. So look forward to the EXBurst. I believe it's going to be the 1-year anniversary he was telling me. So very excited for that. And like I said, I'll be making my own dedicated video for it once we have that to break it down. But as it stands right now, this is the website that people have access to, and definitely the website I recommend if you're playing Union Arena in any simulator or IRL. Just a great website to have. So yeah, essentially when you are building a deck though, it's very simple. Just click on build, go to deck builder, click on the IP you want to build, and then start adding in your cards. If you click on the top right here, once you make an account, which I highly recommend, you can actually go to your saved decks, which is really cool. Click on one, and then once you have it ready to go and you want to export it into a simulator, it's very, very simple. You just click this button here, export, click on the second option here, export as text, and then copy text to clipboard. Now you have it copied to your clipboard. When you go into any simulator that we're going to show off, you'll see that there's an option to actually import it in, so that then you can just keep track of all your decks here, and then you can have them on multiple simulators. Very, very nice tool to have. The mobile version of EXBurst is also really, really nice. Very clean setup, so if you are using this on PC or mobile, there's days where I'm not home, but I still want to like look through sets or scramble with deck builds. I'll do it on mobile, save it, and then when I get home I can just access it on my computer. It's really, really nice. Some other really cool functions for the site are going to be the tournaments page here, where people can post tournaments, their local tournaments, link deck builds to it as well, so people can take a look through the website and actually see those deck lists, see how decks are performing. Really, really cool to see. Also, if you happen to be watching this after the version 3 of EXBurst is released, just go check out the dedicated video that I'll have to EXBurst in case you have any other questions, in case, you know, the version 3 is way too different from version 2. Overall, this is a video just to give you a feel of what EXBurst.dev is and what it has capable. But yeah, overall, pretty easy to figure out, but just in case you are confused, version 3 will have its own dedicated video, which you can go check out if you're watching this now and it doesn't look the same. And then there is an EXBurst Discord, which I highly recommend joining in case you'd ever do want to report any bugs, link up with anybody who plays Union Arena, talk about the game, and just talk about the simulator if you ever want to as well. Link up with other creators possibly. And on top of that, the next simulator that we're going to talk about is actually part of this Discord. The other two simulators have their own dedicated Discords, but EXBurst and I believe the Tabletop Sim Mod date back before the North American release. So they're sort of one within the EXBurst Discord. Just wanted to mention that. So there is a tabletop mod section. So yeah, good segue into the next simulator, because that's what we're going to dive into next. Once again, massive shout out to Tracken for making EXBurst and really just making playing online at Union Arena possible. I'm sure I can't imagine what the other simulators would look like, or if they would even have considered them without the EXBurst sort of catalog or whatever. So yeah, massive shout out to Tracken and all the people that work behind the scenes on EXBurst. It's such an amazing tool, and I'm so thankful to have it, seriously. And then Tracken did mention that his favorite deck is Common Rider, if it's not obvious from all of his pictures and stuff, so I'm sure that would be his #1 pick for a North America release for sure. Haven't looked into the Common Rider cards ever. I've never really dove into the series too much, but he did share some of his deck lists, and oh my gosh, those cards look kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. So it would be kind of an insane set if we did ever get it. I asked all the creators of each sim and Tracken here if they had any words or if they wanted to share any decks, so this is what he sent me here. Very crazy looking deck list, dude, and if you guys haven't seen the Common Rider cards, so wild, dude. Like, I believe this is like Power Rangers, right, essentially? It's like the true Japanese Power Rangers. I know there's like a history of Power Rangers and it getting translated over or something using Japanese footage, but yeah, really, really wild that these cards exist. The first simulator we're going to dive into here is the first ever UA sim that I played on. I believe the first one to ever be created, a mod through Tabletop Simulator created by Lord SR. If you're not aware, this is a game that you can buy through Steam for $20. Sometimes you can get it for like $10 if you find it on sale. And then once you install it, there's infinite amounts of mods that people make for tabletop games, card games that you can install for free. It's really, really cool thing to have, a really nice tool. And then this is the simulator right here, Union Arena Sim by Lord SR. I'll have a link in the description, of course, but it's very simple. You just hit subscribe right here. Once you have it subscribed, you'll load up Tabletop Simulator, hit create. In this case, I'm gonna go to single player. And then boom, you just hit, you should see the mod right here after you subscribe, hit load, and now you're in the Union Arena Tabletop Sim. When you're ready to import a deck, it's very simple. You just go to the EXBurst function here, export as text, copy text to clipboard, and then you click on this notebook function up here, paste it in there, and then boom, hit import once you have it filled in the notebook, and then it should import it in here and you're good to go. You click and hold to drag the cards around, or you can just click drag real quick just to pick up the one, but if you like a click and hold, it'll pick up the whole deck. I actually did a video with R from DJR Union recently, one of our gameplay videos, so definitely check that out if you want to see it fully in action. But yeah, it's a really nice simulator. You can delete stuff on the board. You can also rewind time, which is really nice as well, in case you ever do make any mistakes. It kind of keeps track at random moments. And yeah, what really stands out to me about this simulator is the fact that it's super manual. You have the option to pick up the cards and shuffle them like this. You can right click and you can shuffle, hold your mouse over and click the number 7 to draw cards. There's a nice little mix of auto where like there's this mulligan button here. So if you don't like the hand, you just hit mulligan and it does it all for you, even sets out the life for you. It's really, really cool. When you put cards down, you have to actually tap them yourself. There is, again, like I said, this untap button, which will pretty much untap your entire field. You can move it around with your mouse, zoom in and out. And it's really cool that you can invite your friends through Steam to play with. There is a random like matchmaking function, but I haven't really messed around with it too much, and does require someone to have Tabletop Simulator and Steam. Another really cool thing about this simulator is it actually does support Japanese importing as well. I believe Cardboard Kitsune does have a function for it too, but yeah, if you ever do want to, you can import Japanese versions of cards too. Same function here through EXBurst, just copy text, hop over to the Tabletop Simulator, delete that, pop it into the notebook, delete that if you want, hit import, and boom, now you've got a 50 card deck with your action points. And yeah, it's just a really, really nice way to, in my opinion, play with like a friend if you want to hop into like a VC. I really like the other simulators for matchmaking, getting quick games in if I'm not really trying to like yap a bunch or whatever, just to kick back and get some games in. But this could be a really nice sim, again, just to avoid bugs and just play super manually. And it also does require you to like do the tapping. When you take life, you actually have to like flip them and move them over yourself. So I think it's like the closest thing to playing IRL when it comes to playing virtually. Also, just some tips for Tabletop Simulator for anybody who is using this for the first time ever. If you are playing on Union Arena, when you first install it, I believe the degree rotations will be set to 15, which when you tap your keys to turn cards, it's not going to actually turn fully. So if you change this to 90, that's definitely what you want to do. And then when you tap your E key on your keyboard, it'll automatically rest the card. So yeah, really, really great function to have. Also, if you do, I believe if you hold the Alt key by your spacebar, it'll actually zoom the card in on your screen. So just some little tips for anybody that's actually playing the game. Highly recommend doing these things because they really, really do help when playing the game versus like, I believe my first few weeks, I was like zooming in on the cards and reading them or had them up on another screen. But yeah, if you just hold Alt, I believe, on your spacebar, you can hover over them. And any keys that you're not aware of, like hotkeys, like when it comes to this, or like I do R to shuffle, just right click pretty much anywhere on the screen, but specifically on the cards to get the full options. And you'll not just see the functions like shuffle, cut, this is where you're gonna do your search as well, but you can actually hover over them to see like shuffles are. You can actually see the shortcuts, not all of them have them. And then let's say you do a search, top 4, if you do wanna send them all to the bottom, I believe you would just do this, drag them all out. Let's say they were all going to the bottom. Once they're piled up, that's another really cool thing. The cards will like auto pile if they're sort of close to each other, like this. And if it doesn't work, you can highlight them all, do a drag highlight, click G to group them. And then if you do a right click, you can go bottom of deck. So it takes a little bit of learning and getting used to for sure. But once you get used to it, man, it is such a fun way to play Union Arena virtually. Hopefully I'm not forgetting any other like shortcuts or hotkeys that I may have changed, because if you do go into the menu here in configuration, there's a lot of different things you can change in the controls. So just wanted to mention that. There might be some other like things that I'm not thinking to remind you of just because I've been doing it for a year and it's so like second nature. Like for example, if you're gonna do the scroll wheel, obviously that's to zoom in and out, but if you're gonna move around like this, you actually have to hold the scroll wheel. I should probably mention that. And then if you hold the right click, you can actually rotate the screen, hop to the other side. And then if you're actually playing with somebody else, when you load into their game or if they load into yours, let me actually switch to show you that. So yeah, if you're actually playing with somebody, you'd click create and you'd actually do multiplayer. You can change the number of players, but we're doing a 2-player card game, so boom. And actually, funny enough, these are the functions that you're gonna be looking for when you are playing with random people. So see how it says public here? Since it's highlighted, people should be able to find it. Click on the sim, boom. But again, that would take someone to actually go through and look for it, which isn't impossible, and you can definitely link up with people through Discords, etc. But anyways, once you're loaded in, if you wanted to invite someone, you just click this button right here and you can see your friends through Steam. And if you are in and you need to like change sides of the table or something, just keep in mind when you do this and you hit change color, this is where you're gonna see where people actually, air quotes, sit. So when your friend joins, they should see stuff like this, or if you guys want to switch sides, maybe go to this table, just click on this color here, and the game will auto-rotate you, or should, and boom, you are good. But yeah, all around, this was the first ever way that I played Union Arena. If you go back to my first ever Union Arena gameplay with like the demo decks and stuff, this was how we were able to play it. So huge shout out to Lord SR. Still one of my favorite ways to hop in here and test decks. And again, if I'm just playing with friends over VC and we want to get some games in, it's like the most home feel way, you know? So yeah, really thankful that the simulator exists, and don't know where Union Arena would be, or even me, because this is what got me started on Union Arena. So super massive shout out to Lord SR for this, seriously. If you ever do have any issues with the simulator, Lord SR is very responsive in the EXBurst Discord, so definitely hop in there. There's a tabletop mod section if you're ever having issues with it there. Try to get some help with it. Whereas the other simulators do have their own dedicated servers. But yeah, EXBurst and Tabletop Sim, I believe they've been around for at least a good year, two maybe even, ever since the launch of the Japanese version, before essentially the North America version came out. So massive shout out to them for getting Union Arena started before it even came to America, seriously. And then some words from Lord SR if you wanted to pause and read them. Thank you so much, Lord SR, for taking the time to obviously make this mod, make it a thing, and give me these kind words. I really do appreciate that. If you guys do find yourself in a position to support them through Patreon, I do have a link in the description for that. They did say that even just dropping a like on the mod itself, just a good review on it goes a long way as well if you're able to do that. So definitely recommend doing it. And again, thank you so much, Lord SR. I don't know if I'd even be playing Union Arena if it wasn't for these mods, honestly. And most importantly, if you guys do have any questions, obviously comment them down below. But of course, recommend joining the EXBurst Discord right here and going into the tabletop mod section so you can ask some questions. And then diving into Cardboard Kitsune, the browser-based Union Arena simulator. Unlike the other two, you do not have to install an application for this simulator. You simply just have to go to the website and you are ready to start playing. This simulator is also going to be a really nice in-between of like a full manual sim like we would see in the previous one, the Tabletop Sim, and with some also auto functions where it's not going to allow you to play cards if you're not generating the right energy. So there's going to be a nice mix of auto and manual with this simulator, which is really nice. So if you ever do run into bugs, which is there's a pro to that, you can actually sort of work around them and sort of fix the game yourself, since it's not a game-ending bug, since there are manual options. Like, for example, let's say the card was supposed to go to hand, but the game put it in sideline. Well, it's a manual sim, so you can just click on the card that's in sideline and click add to hand. Whereas on the fully automatic sim, the one next, you can't misclick. You can't make any mistakes. If the game makes a mistake, there's not really any fixing it, unfortunately. So, but again, there's pros and cons, right? With the full manuals sims, there is going to be a lot more clicking, you know, a little bit more things to do, a little bit longer games for that reason, but overall an amazing experience, especially because you just got to go to a website to do it. But yeah, created by Neuroshock, this has been an amazing tool to have, a great way to link up with people, queue online with random people and play, or also a great way, you can pretty much load into any of these simulators with a friend and play no problem, but a great way to do that as well. Neuroshock also mentioned that they're going to be celebrating 1 year of the simulator later this month, so look forward to some pretty big updates. I'll probably be covering that in its own video too when it happens. But yeah, once you've created an account and logged in, you're ready to start playing, and it's really straightforward and simple. Just click these lines right here, and you're going to start with the deck builder in order to get some decks to play with. It's going to be blank here, and while there is a way to build decks through Cardboard Kitsune, I believe it's going to be with this magnifying glass here. You can sort it North America, you can choose your IP, go from there and add cards. I personally love EXBurst, as I was mentioning. With all these sims, it just makes the most sense to build them on here, go to export as text, copy text to clipboard, and boom, there is now an import function. Paste it right there, click import, and now you've got the deck from EXBurst pasted, ready to go. Keep in mind the number of cards does need to be 53 because you do need the action points to play. Keep that in mind, even though there's 50 cards in a deck, obviously. But again, if you're just making them on EXBurst, you can see the numbers up here, and you're ready to go. But yeah, once you have your deck imported, just name it Kafka Kaiju, hit save, and then if you even wanted to, you could hit test hand. There's also a way to customize your deck skins, and that's something that we'll mention as well when it comes to supporting the game, is that there's actually a Kitsune shop. So while most ways to support all of these simulators are through a Patreon, joining the Discord, etc., there's multiple ways to support the Cardboard Kitsune, as well as a Kitsune shop, which is really, really cool. One-time purchases that go a long way in supporting the game, which allows you to have skins and playmats that you can play with in-game. Really, really cool. So definitely recommend checking out the shop and supporting whenever you can, if you're able to, because again, all these simulators are 100% free to play. But any ways that we can support them to help the simulators grow and continue to thrive, always encourage it. So yeah, definitely check out the Kitsune shop when you get a chance. But with that, if you got your deck saved and you're ready to hop into some games, just click on open lobbies here, and boom, we've got a lobby ready to go. So you just click on the deck that you want to play, hit submit, and you will start playing. Now, I have run some issues sometimes that I hope they work out eventually, where you kind of load into this gray screen, and I'm glad it's happening so I can show it. So if this does happen and it's just gray, it should be rolling dice, just hit concede, hit rematch, and it should work. Most of the time, I imagine the opponent's going to accept it, right? Waiting for response. Boom, we're ready to go. Hopefully that gets fixed soon. I'm sure it's been reported. And yeah, just like that, you're ready to start playing. If you like the hand, don't like the hand, I'm going to keep these zeros. You hit keep, and then the game starts going. I also like to play in full screen, just so we get the full experience here. More zoom in on the cards. Also, keep in mind, since we're on a browser, the plus and minus does work. So if it's ever a little buggy, you might want to readjust the magnification. So yeah, Blush Squirrel here actually did just confirm that they were not gray screened on their end. So keep in mind, you might have a gray screen while sometimes your opponent does not. But that's been the workaround I've found for it. Hopefully it just goes away sooner or later. But yeah, so there's a phase button here where you skip through the phases. Keep in mind, the phases don't determine too much. However, they can determine what options you see. So at times, if you're not seeing the options for the cards, it may just be the phase you're on. But yeah, just something to mention. And then yeah, with that, we're ready to start playing. So when you click on cards, you'll see the options here to play to energy line, play to energy line, but we're out of action points. But obviously, if we wanted to be a cheese ball here, we could set active and stuff. And then once you play the cards, you hit next phase, pass turn, and then it goes to them. And then our opponent takes their turn, and it's really nice having this tracker on the side here to keep track of cards in deck, cards in hand. I'm sure you guys have seen how the simulator looks itself. If you want to see more of it in action, me clicking the buttons and stuff, definitely recommend checking out most of my gameplay videos. That's definitely where you'll see a lot of Cardboard Kitsune stuff. But yeah, if you ever do run into issues in the game, like let's say you wanted to do a free play with a card, there's a lot of different workarounds for different things, so just keep that in mind. Like here, for example, I went to the main phase, but now I see that, you know what, I actually should have tapped to draw. I didn't move anything up. I didn't actually say main phase, so I'm just going to go draw and rest. And I don't think my opponent's really going to say anything, right? Play my zero and pass. And it's just like real life, right? If I pushed a card up but actually wanted to tap to draw, but I accidentally went to main, I didn't play any cards yet. I didn't draw any cards off of an ability or anything. My opponent's not gonna complain if I just take the turn now, actually take it back. Whereas like on the full automatic sim, you got to keep in mind, you cannot take back your turn. There's no misclicks. And then there's going to be a take damage function here, pretty cool. And we get the raid card, but we can't raid it, so we add it to hand. So as you can see, there's like some automatic functions here. Take damage, no trigger, goes straight to trash on its own, and then passes to me. Draw for turn. Now this is a pretty rough hand here. This is definitely an example game, I'll say that. Main, I'm going to play this card. And then I do a search here, search the top 6, see if we can save ourselves from bricking. Yes, we can. Add to hand bottom deck. Play to energy line. Now, some things are fully manual, though, like the drawing. So when played, I have to draw and trash a card. The game didn't do that for me, so I have to go in and draw and trash. And who knows in the future what they decide to change, right? I'll go ahead and sideline her and play a Kafka to the energy line. Again, when played, draw, so you want to make sure you're remembering your abilities. Draw and pass. Now, another thing I will mention is this isn't the best way to learn cards and decks, in my opinion, since especially like this card, for example, if you really don't know what it says and you really need to read it, you actually have to click on the card and zoom in on it. You can't really just read it in the bottom right there. So in my opinion, this is a great way to test decks once you already know more or less how they work. If you want to actually read the cards better, take your time reading them. And stuff. I don't know if Cardboard Kitsune is the #1 sim to test on and like, you know, read the cards, learn the cards, because then you're going to take a little while. Because like, for example, if I wanted to read this card here, I have to go to information, view card info, takes up the whole screen. Again, it's not bad, it's definitely possible, but there's better ways to learn the cards and the decks you're playing, in my opinion. Take damage and we get a raid, let's go, raid over this card, move to frontline, and now this is a situation where I get a free play, but I don't have a way to actually do it. It wouldn't let me with the action, so I have to restand it myself, and it's not letting me play to the energy line, so I'll just have to do it next turn. See, and just like that, so we ran into an issue, but I'll just solve it myself since I can't do the free play. There wasn't an option. So draw, movement, main. Let me go ahead and play her to the front line, but since it took an action point, do the set active. This would have been my draw, and then I guess I'll just do the draw I'll do draw trash now because this wouldn't have been my main draw thing. So again, when you run into these issues, you got to work it out with your opponent. But all around, it's better than the game just ending because the ability didn't pop off, right? Let me go ahead and sideline a card here to keep it safe, to play it fair. I'll sideline you. This would have been the card. Boom. And now I draw for turn because that would have been draw off of her ability. Okay. Kafka to the energy line for a draw. Go with Kafka's main ability to set rested to draw. And now that I'm generating 6, this card, it wouldn't let me actually play it, right? Because I don't have the energy. However, there's actually a function for it. So we go to modifications, energy, add, decrease by 2. There's a lot of different tools that you're going to find in there. But overall, it all works out really good. Boom, and set active. And he's actually got to put good point. She's actually supposed to be active. So let me add this card back to my hand. Return to hand. Boom. And just like that, there's workarounds. Boom. There's workarounds. So now what we can do is, you know what? That's totally fine. I'm still playing him. I'm going to go frontline, restand. And now we can go with our 2 rested here. We can go to the modifications. Boom. Decrease by 2, since we're only generating 6, play it a frontline. We have to set him active, and then I will push back a card here. Let's push back, I don't know, this card. All right. And then for damage 2 and stuff, there's actually modifications for it. Boom, damage 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and use Kafka's ability. I'll sideline a card to restand him. Same with BP buffs. You go to add BP, type it in yourself, plus 500. So again, it's manual and stuff, but it's really, really nice. It has its pros and cons. Then we go to attack, swing with our damage 2. And then keep in mind when you're attacking, you do have to select the life, even for your opponent to block, just so you know. So if you're not actually picking the life, they're not going to have the option to actually block the attack. They're taking the life in this case. Then we're going to swing with our 4,000. But yeah, I think this was a great little example of issues you could run into, how to work around those problems, modifications like this, and yeah, just all around workarounds and functions that you can find within Cardboard Kitsune. So the more you play it, the more you learn it, the easier it is to work with for sure, and the funner it is, 100%. Don't get me wrong. This can be pretty overwhelming when you're first diving into it, all the different menus, different actions, modifications, removal, information you don't really click on too often. But overall, it's a really, really easy simulator to learn and get down. Best part is the community is amazing, so as you learn in the sim, if you're ever running into any issues, the chat here to talk with people. I've never run into anybody who is mean or rude, or if there's a new player I'm playing against, I'm always patient with them. People are always willing to help, ask questions and stuff. So yeah, great simulator that I encourage playing on, even if it is a little overwhelming and you feel like you're not 100% sure you're going to enjoy it. And then go to attack and swing. And then boom, just like that, there's a rematch function, so you can get right back into another game. It's awesome. And then if you get the chance, definitely recommend checking out the Cardboard Kitsune Discord. Great place to link up with people to get games in, report bugs, and all around just be a part of the Cardboard Kitsune community. And then just some words from Neuroshock here. If you wanted to pause here and read the message from him, massive shout out to him for, again, putting all this together, creating this simulator, putting in all the work that he does, and taking the time out of his day to reply to my message. He also mentioned that some of his favorite IPs are Tokyo Ghoul, Rurouni Kenshin, Code Geass, so he's clearly loving the game right now. On top of that, he would love to see Death Note in the game he mentioned, which, not gonna lie, that is definitely one of my top contenders. If you didn't see the recent video I posted about how to get your games in Union Arena, your favorite anime, have a video on that, go check it out. And Death Note was actually on Bandai's list of what are your favorite animes when it comes to Union Arena, so that would be a crazy, crazy release, and I could see it going insane and people being very excited about that. And as he mentions here as well, there's some big anniversary announcements planned for Cardboard Kitsune in November, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Very, very excited for all of the future updates and things to come to Cardboard Kitsune. It's been an amazing, amazing tool to have and great way to play Union Arena. I've really enjoyed it. And yeah, as always with the simulators, they are 100% free to play. Just you playing on them is a great way to support, but if you do have the ability to support in any other ways and you find the ability to, definitely recommend doing it, because any ways that we can support these simulators to help them grow and thrive, we got to do it for sure. And then diving into the fully automated Union Arena simulator created by SmallIndieDev. He actually has a few other sims under his belt that he's created as well. A really popular one, the One Piece Bounty card game, I believe, and then the Gundam card game as well. So he's definitely has some experience with card games and other simulators. I'll have a link to the description for the link tree as well as the Union Arena direct install link, because there's going to be a few different things here and you want to make sure you get the right one. So massive shout out to SmallIndieDev for creating these amazing sims and allowing all of us to play card games, especially like in this automated format. But yeah, taking a look at the different ways to install Union Arena, because you're going to want to click on the right one for whatever you're using. If you're playing on Mac, there is actually a download for that. It's going to be this launcher here, and then you'll hit download. I actually haven't downloaded the Mac version because I don't own a Mac, so I imagine everything after this is the exact same, hopefully. Also, this other application here is going to be for Android devices. I have an iPhone, so I was not able to experiment with this much. I'm not sure how much focus and support this is getting, but highly recommend messing around with it. If you have any questions about any of these installations, and you have any questions, any issues you're running into, any bugs you're running into, definitely recommend hopping into their Discord. If you're playing on Windows, you're actually going to want to click on this one right here, and then click on Union Arena Sim Pack. Click on this, the dots, click download, and then boom, once you have it installed, open up your downloads here and you're going to find it right there, ready to go. And then you're just going to wait for it all to load up here and install, checking for updates, yada, yada, yada. And then boom, once you open up the application, you'll be greeted with the home screen here. I just click on sign up with Google, and even when you're signing in with your Google account, because that's my preferred way to do it, you just click on sign up. And then boom, it'll open up your browser, take you to your login, and then boom, it should take you back to the application and you're officially logged in, ready to go. And once you're ready to go, just click on the deck builder here to start building some decks. I've already got some pre-made, and like the other simulator, you can build decks within the actual sim, but I recommend just building decks on EXBurst and then exporting them over as we've been doing. So if you go to EXBurst and you've got your deck ready to go, click on export, export as text, copy text to clipboard, and then go over to the import deck here, and you don't even have to do anything. Once you click the button, it just pastes it right in. And then just save the deck here, test deck 1, hit save, and then boom, we've got it ready to go. You can also click on the action points here to change them, as well as your playmat. And something really cool, if you become a Patreon member, you can actually upload custom playmats and card sleeves. As you can see here, I've got Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo, and then a Naruto Jiraiya mat. So definitely recommend supporting the sim, not just to obviously show any sort of support that we can to it outside of just playing it, but really, really cool functions to allow you to change up how you play within the game. And then once you have your deck saved, you just go back to the screen here, click on play, and then you just click the deck that you want to play with and start playing. And as you can see, we've got plenty of lobbies to hop into. You can also just create your own for people to hop into. Maybe you're playing with one of your friends. And just like Cardboard Kitsune, there is also a ranked queue in here, but don't really dabble in it too much generally, just because I can't really find too many games in it. Hopefully once we get these simulators really popping and a lot more people flowing through them, we can actually have different queues, a casual and a ranked queue. But yeah, overall, just hopping into public lobbies is generally how I play. Really, really fun game. Like I've said with the other simulators too, you can go watch some of my gameplay videos so you can see firsthand how the sims actually run and look. Keep in mind with the automated simulators, there is no going back. Misclicks mean it's happening. If there's any bugs in the game, unfortunately, they can be game ending. However, the automated sim offers tons of pros as well. Games can be extremely fast, not a lot of clicking you have to do, not a lot of menus to go through, and it's really, really, really smooth and really clean. So yeah, to each their own. Everyone's going to have their preferences on what to play on, pros and cons, but overall, definitely a great way to play Union Arena, no question. And then once you're loaded in here, you can see that we've got turn timers. Another thing to mention is the phases are very important in the actual simulator. So for example, if you do want to move cards up, you need to make sure you do it on your movement phase. Granted, that's how it works in real life too, but I don't think if you're playing casually, your opponent's not going to let you move a card up when you went to your main phase, right? And you rethought it. Anyways, yeah, boom, can't play any cards, can't move anything up, go to main, and then it's really nice. You have the option to play cards onto the energy line, or you can even drag them as well. Dragging can sometimes, every once in a while, miss where you actually want to place the card. Keep that in mind. But overall, really, really cool feel to playing the game. This also might be just a slightly better way to learn your cards, since they're a lot easier to read, a lot faster. Just compared to Cardboard Kitsune, where you kind of have to take your time pulling up the cards, and there's a little bit more menus to go through. And since it's an automated game, you have kind of like less questions to ask since the game is making the decisions for you, you know. But with that, we go with this, go with the draw. Now, keep in mind, there are inevitably bugs to run into and stuff, so definitely, oh no, don't play this, put it back in hand. See, and then it's things like this. So, like, this is a situation where I actually don't want to play this card, but I don't think I have a way to cancel this. Oh, okay, I do. I just had to drag off. Okay. Again, like everything else, there's going to be ways to figure it out and learn. But yeah, it obviously makes sense to go for the raid. Really cool, like, raid animation there as well. Move to the front line, and then we get to go for the free play onto the energy line. Set, and then there's like the active mains where you tap to activate. Sure, let's do it. Or you know what? No, I'll just pass. That's fine. And yeah, unfortunately, if you do run into any bugs, especially like game-ending bugs, there isn't really any ways to go back and like play around them. But I will say, playing this for most of this year at this point, I've seen so many improvements. Lately, I haven't really run into any completely game-ending bugs. Granted, every once in a while, you will run into something where the effect didn't happen, and it kind of does feel bad because you can't really fix it, redo the play. Essentially, the game just has to continue. Overall, again, the speed at which you can play games, the cleanness to how much it flows and stuff, it's such a good experience. And I think there is something huge to keep in mind when it comes to automated simulators like this. Just to the fact of, like, if you have any questions about how things are supposed to be played and stuff like that, how certain effects are supposed to happen and stuff, assuming the simulator is set up right, it'll be cool to actually have those questions answered through the game, right? Over on the Small Indie Discord, you'll be able to report any bugs, find any games with people you might want to play with, ask any questions about the simulators if you're having any issues, and yeah, just a great place to link up with people for Union Arena. So I'll have a link in the description for all the Discords as well, if you want to hop into them. And then just some kind words from Latasio. I really appreciate him taking the time to reply, and of course, taking the time to create the simulators and put in all the hard work behind the scenes that he does do. If you wanted to pause and read here, and again, if you guys do find it in your situation to support these sims in any possible way, they do appreciate it. But again, just so you guys know, just playing on them and supporting them does go a long way. Yeah, overall, I hope you guys enjoy these simulators. Hopefully this video is the final one stop for all the Union Arena sims that really helps people dive into them and explains how to start playing on them. Again, I highly recommend checking out EXBurst if you haven't before. The best site, especially with these simulators to build decks, but just in general, even if you are just playing IRL and you want to explore sets and stuff like that, keep track of deck builds. Great website to have. And massive shout out to all the creators. Literally would not have been able to start playing Union Arena and creating content, let alone enjoy it to this level if it wasn't for them. So huge shout out to them. Who knows where not just the channel would be, but where the Union Arena card game would be without them. Because I think it's safe to assume that these online simulators are one of the best ways to bring in new players and allow people to try out the game and explore with new sets and stuff.